Imagine a world where the fastest thing you've ever seen is a steam locomotive or a biplane made of wood and canvas. And then somebody tells you a car is coming that might touch 300 miles per hour. In the 1930s, people didn't fear a crash. They feared the speed itself. They believed there was a limit, a point where tires would explode, engines would tear apart, and a human body would simply fail. A kind of invisible wall. But on September 3rd, 1935, one man decided to drive straight at that wall and find out what was real and what was just fear. No computer, no wind tunnel, just a long blue metal machine built for one purpose: to outrun the horizon. This is Bluebird. His name was Sir Malcolm Campbell, a racing journalist and a World War I Royal Flying Corps pilot who lived on discipline, rituals, and obsession. He didn't just name a car, he named a legend. Bluebird, inspired by a stage play about chasing happiness, something you can see but never hold forever. By 1935, Campbell had already broken the land speed record 8 times, but he was stuck. Daytona Beach was fast, but the surface fought him. Bumps, ripples, and uneven traction caused wheel spin and sudden sideways slides at insane speed. He realized to break 300, he needed a different kind of earth. Hard, flat, endless. He found it in the Utah desert, the Bonneville Salt Flats. Inside the Bluebird sat a masterpiece of engineering, the Rolls-Royce R engine. This wasn't a car engine, it was a supercharged V12 built for Schneider Trophy air racing, pushing around 2,500 horsepower in an era when most cars were happy to make 50. The car was so long and so heavy it needed a towering fin for stability, like an aircraft trying not to lift. But the power came with a price. The cockpit was tight, loud, hot, and brutally exposed. During testing, body panels near the exhaust warped and fumes leaked toward the driver. At speed, the air itself becomes a weapon, and one mistake means you don't just crash, you black out. Campbell wasn't steering a car, he was trying to control a near 5-ton projectile across a surface that looks perfect until it isn't. September 3rd, 1935. Bonneville is blinding, silent, and endless. The timing mile is marked, the officials are watching, and the Bluebird is pointed at history. The engine opens up, and the car starts to float on its own speed. One mistake, one tire going soft, one gust of wind, and it's over. Campbell holds it down the course, and the southbound run clocks 304.33. But a record isn't one run. He has to turn around and do it again, in the opposite direction, within the hour. The return run is slower, rougher, more dangerous. 298.01. Average them, and the world sees the number it wasn't ready for. 301.13. The first human being to officially break 300 miles per hour on land. The invisible wall wasn't physics. It was fear. After 1935, Malcolm Campbell wasn't just a racer anymore. He was a global symbol of speed. But the world was changing. and the obsession with going faster didn't stay a sport for long. As Europe moved toward World War II, engineering priorities shifted, funding shifted, and speed became something nations cared about for reasons that weren't romantic at all. Malcolm kept the legend alive on land and on water, but time always catches up. On December 31st, 1948, Malcolm Campbell died in England, and the Bluebird story should have ended there. But it didn't. Because there was a boy who grew up watching his father stare down death like it was routine. His son, Donald Campbell. And Donald didn't want to repeat history. He wanted to erase the ceiling his father had set. The hunt was about to enter a new age. The jet age. In the 1950s, Donald Campbell became Britain's new speed obsession. He inherited the name and the pressure, but he knew something brutal. To stay ahead, you don't polish the past. You build something the past can't understand. He began around the world of water records, and then he built the machine that made him famous. Bluebird K7, a jet-powered hydroplane, more aircraft than boat. Between 1955 and 1959, he kept taking the world water speed record higher, again and again and again. But Donald wasn't chasing a number. He was chasing a myth. The double! No one had ever broken the world land speed record and the world water speed record in the same year. Then came 1964. On July 17th, in Australia, on Lake Eyre, Donald pushed Bluebird CN7 to an official 403.10 miles per hour. And on the very last day of that year, he took the water record too, at 276.33. The double was real, and it still hasn't been matched. But speed doesn't care what you've earned. On January 4th, 1967, back at Coniston Water, Donald came for one more record, one more headline, one more proof that 1964 wasn't luck. The run was violent, loud, and unbelievably fast. He blasted through the measured section at over 300 miles per hour, still accelerating. And then, the boat lifted. It became airborne, flipped end over end, and shattered into the lake. The Campbell story isn't just records and blue paint. It's the price of obsession, and the kind of courage that looks heroic, right up until the moment it turns fatal. Today we live with supersonic flight, rockets, private space travel, like it's normal. But before it happened, there were people like this, who proved the limit wasn't the machine. It was the human decision to try. If you enjoyed this journey through the history of speed, subscribe for the next episode of Before It Happened. One question. Who was more impressive, Malcolm or Donald? Drop your answer in the comments.